Hi, I'm Tori, and today I'm doing a book haul of books that I got mostly at the library book sale, and then one that I got new. That is this gorgeous copy of The Princess Bride. See, it's got this beautiful gold, shiny embossing on the cover, and it has this gorgeous little map in the front cover, and then it's illustrated. It has beautiful pictures, and then all the pages are beautiful. They have this gorgeous kind of textured paper and these little decorations on them, and then really gorgeous illustrations. And I love The Princess Bride. I have a little paperback copy that I've read multiple times, and yes, the first time I read it, I didn't know that it wasn't a real abridged novel. I thought that there had been a book that was written by S. Morgenstern, and that was abridged, and that's not true. That's just the plot device the author used. But this book looks like it could have been written by S. Morgenstern, and so I just love it. It's so beautiful. So the rest of the books here I got at the library book sale. So first up, we have the Complete Encyclopedia of Arms and Weapons, which just has all these cool different pictures and stuff, and lots of information about armor and weapons and all kinds of stuff like that. And to go with it, we have Weapons and Armor, a pictorial archive of woodcuts and engravings. And so that's really fun. I love getting to see kind of the original art from the time period when these weapons existed. I read a book a while ago called Warrior's Weapons, and I will link that down in the video description. I had a lot of fun kind of getting to see all the different evolution of weaponry over time, so I'm definitely going to have fun perusing these. Then I have Perfect Preserves, which is all about just canning different things. And I live in California. We have fresh produce pretty much every month of the year, and I've been trying to learn how to can more of it, so this should be very helpful with that. Then this book is called How to Live with a Neurotic Dog, and the cover makes it look like it will be very hilarious, and my family does have a very neurotic little poodle, so I think this will be very relatable. Next, I have Erotic Stories for Punjab Widows, and that title is completely amazing. I've seen this book around a lot, and I expect it to be funny and heartwarming. Then I have The Unicorn Girl, which just has these beautiful illustrations on the cover that look hand-drawn and very fun. And then The Unicorn Treasury, which looks like kind of middle grade stories. And it says it's a collection of stories, poems, and unicorn lore. So that should be very fun. Then I bought a travel guide to Ireland because I'm working under the theory that if you buy the travel guide, you have to go there someday, right? And even if I don't, it will be really fun to kind of get to know a little bit more about Ireland and see kind of what places there are and what historical sites and things like that. This is Eight Cousins by Louisa May Alcott. She wrote Little Women, and she tends to write very cozy family stories. And then the illustrations on this are so pretty. They kind of look like the 40s or different books that would have been at my grandma's house. And you can see like the inside on this inside cover, these are so pretty, these little outlines. And I'm thinking I'll enjoy the story, and then this was just such a beautiful edition, I had to get it. This giant book is called China, A Short Cultural History, which I feel like is a joke because this book is huge and has a tiny little font and nothing about it could be considered short. But I figure if someday I want to learn everything about China, then I can read through it. This is The Princess and the Goblin, which is a Victorian story, and just based on the title, I had to get it. This beautiful little book has a copyright date of 1925, and it is a collection of Russian short stories. So I don't know if there'll be ones that were modern when it was published, or if there'll be more folklore or anything like that. But I really love Russian folklore, and I would like to kind of get more familiar with the general writings of the country. Plus, this book is so beautiful, and I love old antique books. The Bad Behavior of Belle Cantrell is set in the 1920s, and I got it because of this description. Belle Cantrell felt guilty about killing her husband, and she hated that. Feeling guilty, that is. So this should be a lot of fun to kind of travel with her through her chaotic 20s adventure. Next, I have Tell No Tales, which is a cozy mystery set at Christmas time and featuring a cat. So it looks like a very good book to read, like in the cold winter months. Next, I have the Old Salem Official Guidebook, and I feel like this is the kind of thing that they would probably sell at the Museum of Old Salem, but it just talks about all kinds of things, the different household things they would have had, and the clothing, and the food, and I love any historical stuff like that. Plus, the costume shop where I work is doing the costumes for the Crucible, and so this is very helpful with that. This also looks like it's from a museum to me. It is the Museum of Western Expansion, Jefferson National Memorial. And so it's just a little short book that kind of talks about westward expansion in America. So I thought that would be kind of a concise little way to learn some history. Then this book is beautiful. It's called The Five Little Peppers and How They Grew, and that cover is just so gorgeous. I don't think the story is actually that long. The font in it is pretty huge and it has illustrations, but it looks like an adorable children's book. This book is called Flight of the Wildling. It's about Elizabeth of Austria, who is the queen known as Sisi, and I've seen the trilogy of movies from the 50s about her, and she looks so fascinating. So this is a children's nonfiction book, so it seems like a good way to just get some kind of brief history about her and learn what was fact and what was fiction in the movie. Then I found Tales of the Peculiar by Ransom Riggs. So Ransom Riggs wrote the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children series, and in that series they read a book called Tales of the Peculiar, and this is that book. So I read the whole series. I really love the ambiance, and I liked the first book. I got kind of bored with the series over time, but I think I might still have fun kind of reading the little kind of fairy tales that the children in that book read. Next I have The Crusaders by Walter Buer. And I'm not actually that interested in the history of the Crusades, but Walter Buer is the author of the Warrior's Weapons book I read, and I love that book so much, and I believe he does all his own illustrations and everything, so I thought this would be very interesting to read. Next, I have The Alarming History of Medicine, Amusing Anecdotes from Hippocrates to Heart Transplants. So I love reading this kind of history book where you learn historical things, but it's sort of tongue-in-cheek and taking kind of a lighthearted approach to it. Next, I have this kind of joke book. It's called You Know You're 50 When, and it's just all kinds of cute little things about getting older. Next, I have a book called Historic Girlhoods. So the copyright date in this is 1910, and it covers all kinds of different historical people. There's Joan of Arc, there's lots of the English queens, there's Pocahontas, there's Jenny Lind, the opera singer, all kinds of different people. So I thought this would be very interesting to read. And I love it that it was written in 1910 too. That'll be a very interesting perspective. Then I got this cute little driving guide to the Pacific Northwest, which includes Oregon, Washington, and Alaska. Though I don't know why they would include these together, because I doubt there are many people who drive around Oregon, Washington, and then Alaska. Like, those seem like they should be separate books. But maybe people do drive through Canada to get there. I don't know, but I will probably mostly be focusing on the Oregon section. Then I got this little book called Another Child's Christmas in Wales, and it looks almost self-published. It's very simple and, you know, not that complicated of a book. It looks like it could have been put out by like a local historical society or something. But then with it was the story of Another Child's Christmas in Wales, and this book actually looks kind of more official. And I think it talks about the writing of this book, maybe? I'm not really sure, but I'm interested to explore them. Then I got this cute little book that's all about knots and splices. So it just has little diagrams of how to tie knots, because I'm horrible with knots. I've never been able to tie them hardly at all. I can barely tie my shoes. So this will be really interesting, and maybe now I'll be sophisticated with knot tying. And finally, I got this cute little kind of gift book. It's called When I'm Good, I'm Very, Very Good, but When I'm Bad, I'm Better. And that's a quote from Mae West. And so this is all just kind of cute, flirty little quotes from famous people, mostly from movie stars. It does have a little price sticker I need to get off still. But it's a very cute little book. I read it already. And it's just lots of cute little quotes with these really fun, stylized illustrations. So it just seemed like a very cute little book. So those are all the books I bought this time, and I'm sure I will be back soon because I always buy more books.